Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
Patriots Unfiltered!
All right, welcome to Patriots Training Camp 2025. I'm Fred Kirsch, joined by Paul Perillo, Evan Lazar, Mike Deuce-Dussault, and we are going to be here with you for the first day of public training camp. We are excited. The weather is beautiful. We're high above the practice fields here at Gillette Stadium, and we're going to bring you everything we can from practice today. Join us after practice as well. Deuce and Paul and Evan will have wrap-ups, but it's a big day for the Patriots and for Patriots fans as we kick off training camp. And guys, let's jump right into it. What are you most excited about?
I'm just excited that football's back, and it's going to be a slow build to real football, but it's always a fun feeling here. First day of school, everybody back, seeing the media down there. We'll hear from Vrabel again in a few minutes, but just to get going, I think that's the biggest thing. And as I said on Patriots Unfiltered yesterday, once we get through this day, we're like, all right, let's get the pads. Then we want to get to the preseason. So,
right.
But we're starting the train rolling, so I think it's always exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, there is an energy, right? This been around the team, I think, the entire offseason since Vrabel was announced as the new head coach. I think there's been a renewed energy and enthusiasm, and I'm going to be easy. What am I excited about? Drake May.
Yeah.
The quarterback is, to me, the marquee guy on any team, and the Patriots have a young and talented one. I want to see what it looks like in year two.
Yep. There's a little bit of extra juice driving into the building today. You did feel it a little bit in the car.
Did you have a certain
27th training camp for me, and I'm feeling it.
Did you have
I
a
feel the extra
song
juice.
that you were playing on the radio?
I did, Fred.
Crazy Train, obviously.
Crazy Train, oh, okay.
R.I.P. to the legend.
Yeah.
So it was, you do feel a little bit of that extra juice, but I think overall, kind of in the same lines of Deuce, it's just, there's so much optimism right now with this team. It really feels like the coaching's better, the roster's better. Drake May is obviously exciting as well, so let's see it. Let's start to put this thing together and see where they can go from here.
Yeah, but just not to oversimplify it, but I mean, this year, Stephon Diggs, Milton Williams, two names that you're going to see come out here that are, legit blue chip, proven players in this league. Something they haven't had enough of the last few years. I'm excited to see those guys. New faces out there, hopefully can elevate both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about everything you guys just mentioned, and just the fact that we got a lot of Christmas presents.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to open them yet. We saw some glimpses of them, but now, we're really going to see the stuff that we got in the off season, throughout training camp. You mentioned the joint practices. That'll be a big day. So it's exciting to see what do we got.
I think we've opened them. We just can't play with them yet.
Yeah, we can't play with them.
We've been looking at them in the box, and we're like, I know what it is. I can't wait to see it play. This new Stephon Diggs doll. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So it's I think the other thing is the team is generally healthy too. It's a good sign. The PUP list coming out. Vrabel saying that expecting Jelani Tavai to be back out there. Carlton Davis, a couple guys that popped up on those lists last week. So encouraging health to start camp. Of course, that's a baseline for every NFL team right now. Guys get hurt. How do you deal with it? How do you overcome those injuries?
Yep. So off the bat, want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Brunt Workwear. We want to thank Bob's Discount Furniture, Bridgestone. We want to thank Visit MA, and of course, we want to thank Buy a Toyota, our main sponsor for Patriots Unfiltered. We'll talk more about them a little later, but I do want to remind fans, or let you know for the first time, that if you want to go on a road with the Patriots this year, you can enter the Patriots Road Trip Raffle for your chance to travel to New Orleans as the Patriots take on the Saints on October 12th. One lucky fan will receive 2 tickets on a private charter to the game, tickets to the game, hotel accommodations, and a lot more. Enter for a chance to win for just $10. All of the proceeds benefit the Patriots Foundation, so you can purchase your tickets at patriots.com/community. So you might want to do that if you want to travel with the team this year. That should be a good little getaway.
You might get to rub elbows with Evan Lazar.
I was going to say, with private charters, that mean the
Probably, yeah.
With Fred Kirsch and Evan Lazard.
New
There you
Orleans
go.
is a great place to go visit and good place to go see a football game too. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
That's what I
So
heard.
that's one circled on my.
Patriots.com/community.
That was the one I had circled. That and Tampa were the two ones that I'm most excited about this season. So.
Okay. I hear dogs barking. The Patriots are doing a dog adoption event today, so people can come and adopt puppies that are being brought onto the field. We'll see that in a bit. Players are going to be bringing the dogs up to the field. So we'll see that. You see fans starting to fill the bleachers. Slow arrival today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's. I mean, practice. I don't think it's going to start
early
for a while.
Yeah, so we're starting. We should let everybody know we're starting a little earlier than we normally would because of the event that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The dogs are going to be coming out, I think, with some of the players and whatnot. But Mike Vrabel's press conference is going to be in about 10 minutes.
And we will go to that live.
Which is a little earlier than it normally would be, 45 minutes before the scheduled start of practice. So we'll have Mike at 9:30. We'll go to him live. So we will be a little bit. I think it is not necessarily a late arriving crowd, Fred. I just think it's still a little early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think this is. You guys talked about the weather. I think this is ideal for opening day.
What I'm hoping for is that the players coming up aren't just carrying the dogs, but they also got that dog in them, Paul. That'll be a good sign for the team this year. Maybe
Mike,
a little symbolism
that's
about
why
that.
Evan and I are honored to be part of your post-practice podcast.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see about that, Paul. You're on shaky ground right now.
Well,
but-
Fred said it, so now it's out there.
Well, Bill
Can't take it
Parcells
back.
used to say about players, he'd say, if they don't bite when they're puppies, they won't bite when they're dogs.
Yeah.
So you want to see
There's a lot of
right from
metaphors
the
going on.
start, who's looking good, who's
Right.
looking
A lot
good.
of bad ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Milton Williams carrying a dog up that's just biting everybody. You're like, this is a good sign. This is a good sign.
It's like Tony. Remember Tony Gator? Speaking of like training camp legends, Tony
Absolutely.
Gator. He was like he's like a chained up dog, man. You let him loose, and I'm just gonna run wild.
He came and went so many times. He was on and off the roster that summer. It was,
Yeah, he must have gotten cut at least 10 times.
Yeah.
over
Just
the
keep
span
going
of
with that.
like a year and a half.
Well, I got to put you guys on the spot. How many training camps is this for the infamous tandem of Kirsch and Perillo? I mean, you guys.
well,
27?
27 together.
27 together.
This is 30 or 31 for me.
Whew.
Yeah.
Back in the days of Bryant.
Oh, those were the days. That was when training camp
there you
really
go.
was training camp.
Thanks, Tease.
Your lemonade. I know that was your Dell's lemonade, right, Fred? That
You already
that was
have your
favorite thing?
fancy
Dell's
roster, but
Lemonade
Yeah, I
at
do my own
Bryan
roster,
College.
thank you.
But those were, the two-a-days. Those were really tough practices for the players.
What would you guys do covering those games where you have a double session? So would you cover the morning session, hang out, have lunch, maybe write something off the morning session, then watch the afternoon session, write something
Absolutely.
on that?
Because
Mike, there was
There
a
wasn't
time
internet
where I
back
actually
then, right?
stayed at Bryan College.
Yeah.
Really?
I stayed in the dorms.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Up in the bunk beds?
I mean, it was a long day.
It was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. You do the morning, and then you'd have lunch. We'd go. Back then, we could eat with the players. So we were in the cafeteria at Bryan College.
I never got to eat with the players. That had already changed by the time
yeah.
I
Really?
started.
And then you'd come out in the afternoon. Now, we were doing the newspaper back then.
Right.
So we had various people who would work for us in the summer and sit out on the field and sell subscriptions to people.
Good.
One of them was
Smart.
Chris Gasper,
Oh, really?
who later went on to the Boston Globe. But
I know you guys laugh at me when I call Fred the Kingmaker.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I would never
But
laugh
I
at
remember
that.
Chris would, he'd trudge out to the practice field with his little cash box and his papers, subscription pad, and people would come up and he'd fill it out and sell them subscriptions to the newspaper right there on the field.
That's
I love
funny.
that.
That's
Yeah.
how he got to start.
Great.
I didn't know. That was another one. Well, you said it, Paul. He's a kingmaker.
He's the
I didn't
kingmaker.
realize
Yeah.
Gasper was in that list as well. But yeah, totally different. I mean, it's not like you watch the morning practice, put a blog post up about it. You're building a newspaper, so I
Yeah.
imagine it's a little more measured about what you're choosing to write about from practices
it
and
is
things.
absolutely, most of it we geared it toward the newspaper. And we would put updates up on the website, but the website was nothing compared
Oh,
to
yeah.
it was
It's
so-
nothing. The scope of what we write now is
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
light years. Light
It was
years.
so bare bones back then. You were lucky to have the roster up on the internet back then. Like Paul said, the focus, our main attention was the newspaper.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
no podcasts, you weren't really doing a TV. I mean, maybe you had a TV show or
Well,
somebody
in
like Brian Lowe would do it.
1997, we've always had the TV show. In 97, we were the first really company in the world to have a nightly made-for-the-internet show. It was called Patriots Cyber Sideline.
And we did that every day of training camp. That was basically the training camp podcast of its time.
Yeah.
Only it was a video show, and it was new. It was a news show, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and we would have a host, and Brian Morey and I would alternate having to do a story. We'd be like Dan Roach.
Remember Caroline Jones?
I'm Caroline Jones.
Yeah, she was the host. And
we would, like, I'm Paul Perillo, Patriots Cyber Sideline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you had to say
yeah.
the cyber sideline.
It was bad. It was. I was not. That wasn't. I was not Dan Roach.
But
I was no
literally,
Dan Roach.
People were watching. They were using dial-up modems.
Yeah.
And so, whether or not you connected was always a mystery. But we did that every night, and like I said, no one had done that before.
Yeah.
No one had done that before.
And now here we are, live show.
So Mike Reese had done it, before me. Again, Kingmaker.
Right.
Kirsch.
Mike Reese.
Mike Reese was me before me.
Yeah.
And he had a.
No,
We're going to start with 2 words. Salary cap.
Right. Funny
And he
story.
explained the whole salary.
When we were thinking of doing this,
Sounds exciting.
how do you do live video on the internet? Because people were doing audio, but not really video. So I called this company in Dallas called AudioNet, and a guy picks up the phone, Mark Cuban, and I explained to what we wanted to do. He's like, well, we can do audio. I'm like, no, we're already doing live audio. We want to do live video. It's like, well, we're not there yet. I'm like, okay. Finally, I found this company by MIT, and they helped us do it.
Wow. Mark Cuban missed out on another $1 billion if he had just listened to Kirsch back in the day.
He tried to make another can.
Yeah, he tried.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban's like, I got this.
Yeah. So that's a funny story from back in 1997.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Well,
I don't think I ever heard that story.
No?
No.
Well, I later found out from
ain't no
somebody
band
high
leader.
up here that he wanted to hire me,
Oh, really?
and they wouldn't let him talk to me.
Well,
So-
innovator. You could
Yeah.
tell you were on the
So
cutting
I-
edge.
You could have been a shark.
I could have been like part owner of the team.
I'm out.
You wouldn't have traded Luka Doncic, would you?
No, I don't think I would have.
No,
Yeah.
he would have kept on, held on to him. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about what we're excited about. What's the thing? I don't want to say worried, concerned, but what's the thing that's right now the biggest mystery to you? The thing the biggest unknown.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of them. Just how big of a step is Drake going to take? I always start with Drake. That's what we do. The quarterback is such an important position. Can he clean up the turnovers? I think that's really where it has to start, but I could also throw in the tackle positions, and you feel good about what you've seen from Morgan Moses, what he said. He's had a consistent career. Will Campbell, very highly touted prospect. We know, some of the concerns with him with length, but can those two guys solidify these positions?
Will we know that in training camp, or do we really have to wait until things are real?
Yeah.
Well,
I think you always had to wait a little bit, but I think you'll have a sense. If he's sticking out there, I mean, the extreme cases, they're rotating somebody else in right now.
Yeah, I think we'll know if he's not doing well.
Right.
But if he, and we'll get a sense if he is doing well, but we really won't know until the rush is live.
Yeah.
And
joint practices will be a little
joint practice
interesting.
might
and,
be a good indication.
People might overblow some of the one-on-ones. That's something, he lost a one-on-one. I try not to overreact to some of those, but I think you'll have a sense of it. But it's like anything. I mean, the running game is probably the biggest mystery, I would say, early in camp. You have
can
no
never
idea.
tell.
And
every run looks like a run
Right.
for a touchdown.
And I know today is a first and second down day. There'll be a lot of first and second down stuff, so there'll probably be a lot of runs, a lot of screen passes, that kind of stuff. So, it's slow ramp up. That's the thing today.
Yeah. I mean, if you're new to this, by NFL rules, the collective bargaining agreement, they're not going to be in pads today. They won't be in pads until Monday. So it's kind of like a walkthrough. And actually, the length of the practice ramps up. So today is the shortest practice we'll see by rule. But right now, I'm being told that Mike Vrabel is approaching the podium. So we're going to go to him. Are we ready to do that?
So he's walking. He has
got that
he has
dog
a
with
dog in his hand. He's got a little bit. He's got a ways to go. But
It's like Wyatt.
yeah, is that why
You know the dog personally?
That,
like
is
Wyatt.
that the one that
Yeah, we
got
met
some airtime today? I saw in the local news this
gonna be
morning.
on
I saw
demand.
our own Steph Burnham getting some
Nice.
some prime time airtime.
So you can
met
see Mike
Wyatt
right now
yesterday.
with the dog.
Yeah.
The dog has a
I'm
little
going to be on her.
Patriots
She's trying to
jersey
steal
on.
our jobs. I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll listen to see what Mike has to say.
Knew it was Wyatt. Could tell.
Tell them to open the sound to our. Can you tell them to send the sound to our head? Yeah, they're having trouble.
They're having issues. You guys.
All right, I guess we have some audio issues right now, but you can see Mike. You just can't hear him.
It's one of those back-to-back press conference days where I feel like you kind of laid everything out yesterday, set the stage for camp, and now it's
Yeah,
a
I
little bit
agree.
so did anything change in the last 12 hours since we last talked to you, Mike?
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I thought the injury news was relevant yesterday. Obviously Diggs got most of the attention, but there were other, Carlton Davis being ready to go today to start camp after starting on NFI. So some of that stuff. Terrell Williams returning. I think those are kinds of the things. What would have changed between 11 o'clock yesterday and 9 o'clock today? Probably not a whole lot. He had mentioned that everybody was expected to be here, so
Right.
I'm expecting to see,
The whole
89 players, 88 players, I guess, today.
We have 91 actually.
Right, but there's 3 guys on list, so I'm expecting to see everybody else.
Come
He
on, Evan.
corrected us
Get on it.
yesterday about it's 91, not
Yeah.
90.
So
'cause,
I wasn't.
yeah.
I'm not trying to get called out the way others in the media did
Oh,
yesterday.
that clip went viral too. It's great. It's all over social media.
It's just the beginning of it. I was talking to my dad this morning, and we always talk Patriots. He's like, "Oh, I'm excited. Season gets going. I'm going to talk about it." I'm like, "I tell you, Dad, so far Vrabel's been worth the price of admission just to listening to him talk through the offseason, his press conferences, watching him in practices. It's just feels like he never left in some ways." And I'll try to block out those years he was in Tennessee because I didn't enjoy that, but. But
You picked him every week.
yeah, I did. That was more of a Derrick Henry thing, though, maybe. I
That
gotta
is
be
true.
honest. Derrick Henry made quite the impact on me in my first joint practice, but yeah, I mean, Diggs, that was another thing he said yesterday. Diggs is a testament to how hard he's worked. We'll see how active he is here today, as well as Tavai. What does he look like? He got hurt during camp, OTAs. So is he full go? Or,
So with Tavai, a guy like that, you think there was maybe a little urgency for him?
I think so.
I got to get back. I got to be ready to go. I can't give them any because he's seen, with a lot of the other sort of Bill/Mayo holdovers went.
Yeah.
During the course of, the Jawan Bentleys and the David Andrews and those kinds of guys.
I think the thing that's in Jelani Tavai's favor, and let's point out, he's the leading tackler last year, got kind of put into a bad spot when Jawan Bentley went out. So not ideal, but of all the linebacker crew, he's very versatile, and I don't know if that exactly fits like what Vrabel wants. I think they called it, what is it, the reducer? What is it? The adjuster. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The ability to shift from inside off the ball to on the edge. So he has that versatility that I think maybe could help him a little bit. You saw him play inside last year, maybe not the best spot for him, but I compare him to someone like Anthony Jennings, who good, solid, stand up, edge setting, outside linebacker, but they tried to play him as a rookie inside. Didn't go so well. They got away from that as his career progressed, and you saw that he has a certain set of skills that apply to the NFL, and it's hard to say maybe he doesn't fit exactly what we do, but the guy can play, and he's a tough player.
Yep.
He's always in the middle of whenever there's a skirmish, Anthony Jennings is sticking his nose right in the middle of it. So I just love the attitude that he plays with and the toughness. So we'll see here in the next couple weeks how those guys fit into this scheme.
Sticking on the linebacker subject, you mentioned Bentley going down, and that was a big loss. That really threw everything
Yeah.
into disarray when it came to the linebackers because they really didn't have a true replacement for him.
So, Fred, you asked about 10 minutes ago some of the things that you're concerned about most, or unsure about, I guess, how you phrased it. And my answer to that is always about depth, and that's an area specifically. Robert Spillane, to me, is one of one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
I would
go to
worry
Mike.
if
I
they
think
lost
we've got
him.
his audio now. I guess not. Well, I can't hear it. So, all right. So back to the linebackers.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
Here we go. We
There
got
it is.
it.
Presentation, which is critical, and the one thing that I tried to reference to our football team was I attended a doctor's dinner for every doctor and nurse and every person that would come in contact with our football team through the course of the year. And we're extremely lucky to be where we're at to get that kind of care. We can get our MRIs, we can get a lot of our lab work right here at Patriot Place. And the one thing that Jim Whalen, our trainer, told me at that dinner, because I was like, there's a lot. I wasn't expecting there to be this many people. And he said that we have one specialist per every 3 players. And whether that's an orthopedic or whether that's a cardiologist, that is a neurologist, anybody that would have to be in contact with our players, we have a large group. And we're thankful. They take care of us here at Patriot Place at Brigham and Women's to be able to get in an MRI and get back and be efficient so the players get back in meetings. All these different things, the concussion, making sure that that presentation is presented. So there's an extensive medical equipment, wearing the proper equipment and understanding what that is about some of these young guys and their feet. We covered the hotel, we covered security, we covered media. There for you guys, there's a media presentation that there's a film that the league puts out, and so Stacy and I talked to them about that, and so there's a long checklist.
And Mike, given the trust you have to have with the medical staff, Jim's experience and your own experience and relationship with him as long as he's been here, how valuable is that?
Well, the trainer I worked with in Tennessee was a mentor for Jim as well. So Todd Torricelli, Jim had worked with him. So when I left here, we still all stayed in contact because I was working with Todd in Tennessee, and Todd talked to Jim a lot. But there is a lot of comfort there. There's a lot of experience on Jim's part. And so we're just trying to give the players the best care that we can as quickly as we can to give each guy what they need. So that's been good. And again, we always talk about some of these injuries are going to be unavoidable. It's just how we work from them and how we come back from them is what's most important.
Mike, there's a moment in a video that the team produced, the Forged in Foxborough show, I guess you'd call it, where the team is sort of in between plays.
What did you call it? I didn't call it anything. What is it? Is it a docu-series?
Call it a docu. That's probably a more apt term for it. And I'm the media guy, so nice job by you. The offense is sort of in between plays, and you say something to Drake like, hey, you've got a minute here, talk to your guys. Mm-hmm. Why is that important to you? How naturally does that come to Drake to do things like that? And, how much of a focus will that be for you as head coach to kind of draw that out of him?
My job is to figure out what we need and what each player needs and do everything that I can to help them physically or mentally or emotionally. And I try to recreate these practices the same way the game is. The offense goes over there. We have a drive that lasts 1 play, 3 plays, 8 plays, 12 plays. It ends in 6 points, 7, 3 points, whatever it ends in, or a punt. And you go over there, and you have to talk to the coordinator. You're going to talk to Josh. But then the quarterback's going to have to go up and down and make sure, hey, we just had this happen on this last play. If we get it again, saw this defense for the first time. There's a lot of things because it's always going to mean more coming from the guy that's out there leading them. And that's all that situation was. No different than defensively. You're going to go over there. Linebackers and safeties are going to talk, say, hey, when I make this check or they're in this formation, we're going to have to make sure that we adjust to it quickly, or if we get this same, chances are if they had success with it, we're going to see it again.
Milton Williams told us a story about you pushing him in a conditioning drill. How has he responded to that, and what have you seen from him from a leadership and conditioning standpoint?
Early on, that was something that was important to Milt, was that he wanted to lead, and there had been zero pushback. He is fun to coach. He's very mature, and so there's zero reservation about his leadership ability. He's here a lot. He's here all the time. He shows up early, gets plenty of work in, takes care of his body. He's a true pro.
At the end of the day, what would make a successful training camp for your team at the end of this summer?
Well, if we can remember what the objectives of training camp were, which were, do you remember?
You said no.
No.
That was yesterday. There were 3 things.
Build a team.
Okay.
Remember, Mike? Earn a role. You remember the last one? Prepare to win. You guys are on fire today. We're off to a great start. So if we can do those things, there's a reason I try to do this. I don't claim to be the smartest person. So if I can just try to find some things that I think are important for the team and the individual, and then kind of coming back to the team. So if it looks like we build a team and there's some cohesion and guys are enjoying being around each other, are they competing? Are they taking care of each other? And then our guys starting to figure out, hey, this is going to be my role. I'm going to go try to dominate that, whatever that may be. And then ultimately, are we understanding these situations, and can we try to win a football game? So that's what would be successful.
What do you look for in leadership, Mike? What do you want from your leaders, but also your captains?
Well, I mean, I think that I hope player and coach can be an extension of the message that I have created, and try to, get that across in their own words and stay consistent to it. That's why we don't have a ton of stuff that we try to talk about. We try to stay very consistent and allow that to kind of branch off, and don't tell them what to say, but allow them to have some parameters and things that we're working for. So we just hope that everybody carries that message over here as they work to lead their unit or another position. Thank you.
All right, that was Mike Vrabel. Again, apologize for the early audio issues, but you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's we hear stories about Mike Vrabel liking to put players on their toes, asking them questions off the top, and I think we just saw it with the media too. So I think we have to be on our toes as well.
It's funny because like Paul and I have been here for a long time. This is my 30th, 31st training camp. Paul's been here for 27 of them, and throughout that time, even though Bill Belichick was here for a long time, we've seen different styles of coaches handling the media, and it's very clear that Mike Vrabel's got his own style.
Yeah.
He likes to engage, he likes to prod, he likes to poke fun, and he's kind of treating the media, at least right now, a little bit like he does players. Like we heard from players that in meetings he challenges them, he asks them questions. Do you remember? Do you know the answer? And he's doing the same thing with the media here. But, between Parcells, Pete Carroll, Bill, Gerard, and now Vrabel, each of them have their own really distinct styles in how they handle this.
Yeah, Brendan Schooler talked a little bit about that. Where he was like, you're not afraid of him, but you know that he means business. And
it'll be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah. Better be on top of stuff.
Might be a little afraid of him.
Maybe a little bit.
You got to be ready.
Yeah.
And that's the idea, is he wants guys prepared and be ready.
I mean, the bottom line for me, though, is that just Vrabel's funny. Like, I enjoy listening to him. The press conferences can be dry. They can be, same questions. You know what's going to come. But he seems to be thoughtful about his answers. They don't feel like prepackaged. And if you ask a dumb question or you're not on your toes, you better be ready because he might call you out.
You see Robert Kraft down there with the puppies and his wife, Dana. And then you see the people in the background who have adopted dogs. They're receiving their dogs now, so that's pretty cool. Who doesn't love a puppy? Except Paul.
I was going to say.
I thought we were going to put a moratorium on those jokes just for one day.
Are we doing that? Okay. All right.
Well, as a new dog dad myself in March, I have to say we've enjoyed our little Zoot guy. Even though we still can't figure him out last night, barking like crazy. Every time my dad stands up, sits down, cuddle, loves, just no problem. Dog's chilling with my dad. The second my dad stands up,
I'll tell you, Mike, every time you talk about your new dog ownership, it really makes me want to go out and change my ways.
You're not selling it very well for Paul.
Last night wasn't a good night.
We got to do some training over here.
All right, let's help Paul out. What's the perfect breed of dog for Paul?
Oh God, like it's got to be something like a lab or a golden that's low energy and easy.
Labs are high energy, aren't they?
No. Labs like to loaf around. Like Paul is not. You're not going to want to give Paul a dog that's stubborn or is hard-headed, because you need like a beginner dog.
It's not a battle he'll win.
No. Well, absolutely. I mean, labs are the friendliest dog. They're so easy.
Oh
yeah. You need a beginner dog for Paulie. You can't throw him you throw him a Ridgeback and he's we're going to be in trouble.
So if there's what about a retriever? Because then he could get the Diet Pepsis or the
That's true.
the Bud Lights.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I think we could all get together on a dog that might fetch us like a Jersey Mike's, perhaps. Run down Route 1.
Yeah.
Go ahead and boy.
It's like Alex from Stroh's. Alex, 2 cold Stroh's.
I just want Atlas to help me with the groceries and stuff, because he's 100 pounds. So it's you're strong as hell. Can you help me?
You get a little wagon.
If I tie the wagon to you,
you get a wagon with a rope and he pulls the wagon.
Like a sled dog, right?
Well, put your brunt stuff on and hook him up to like a hoe or something in the backyard, and you're just planting a field.
I could see Jess's face now. She'd be like, "What are you doing to my dog?"
So prediction on tonight's news. What gets more airtime, the dogs or Drake May?
Dogs.
I think you got to lead with the dogs. But if Drake throws a nice pass, those always are a highlight of camp practice. One which I'm sure our wonderful video content team will capture. They're on top of all those plays, but those are always they're like a moment. We had one little bit. I guess it was more Gonzalez probably in that mini camp where he had that one-handed pass. But there's always a little play that you come out talking about. What does it mean in the grand scheme of the season? Maybe not much, but it's still those little plays that build your excitement, make you think they're going to make some big plays in the games.
That's great. Mike Vrabel interacting with the pups. Robert Kraft taking pictures. That's Kendrick Bourne,
Marcus
I believe.
Jones. Yep. That's Bourne and Marcus Jones.
Yep.
So, Fred, do you know how many dogs they have here today?
I think there were
a fleet of dogs.
I think there were 20.
I think it's 20. I think that was the number I heard from Steph this morning.
Well,
yep.
I was told to bring one home, and I politely declined. So.
Yeah.
100-pound dog
Atlas
is
needs
enough.
a friend.
Don't start. This is what I get once a week.
That's the famous Heisman in Mrs. Kraft's arms.
Oh, I've heard about him. Now, why did they come up with Heisman? It's college football, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good name for a dog, I guess.
Sure. No, I think it's a great name for a dog. I just didn't know if they got him from somebody who won a Heisman, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I met it. Is him or her? I met them in the admin level.
Good pronoun.
Yeah, I don't know the dog's pronouns.
It was running around, and I just dog person. So and the next thing I know, there's Mrs. Kraft standing right in front of me.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
Well, guys are jogging out here as we.
I did see a little notable. Harold Landry appeared to be the first player on the field.
That's the first guy I noticed. I don't know if it was the first one out.
That's a guy that they signed, in all seriousness, to kind of set the tone and circle the wagons for Mike Vrabel. Certainly a Vrabel guy going back to Tennessee. So I don't think it's a total coincidence that he made it a point to be one of the first guys out here. I think he's one of those guys that they signed for that purpose.
I want to ask you about him, Evan, because I found myself just thinking about him a little bit, as we are wont to do. You and I know sometimes we're lying in bed at night just pondering the Patriots roster.
We're that meme where it's like he's probably thinking about other girls, and it's like football.
Landry was great under Vrabel in Tennessee. Really, blossomed there. Last year he still had 9 sacks. Tennessee releases him. Like, where is he right now? I mean, do you feel like we're getting a player who is still geographically in Foxborough, but in his career, Paul?
Good, Paul.
Is he still, at the peak of it, or do you feel like you're kind of catching him as he's starting to kind of plateau down on the backside?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question to ask. I feel like he still has production in him, but I never really felt like he was one of these, quote-unquote elite pass rushers. There's a couple of guys that got $40+ million in this offseason. Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt. I don't think that before the injury he was tracking to something like that.
Yeah.
But I do think he's a solid player, probably more than just a pass rusher.
Yeah,
More of an,
for sure.
More of an every down. He'll stick his nose against the run and set the edge and do those kinds of, the dirty work that you need to do. I think he's more well-rounded. But I wouldn't necessarily expect him to go and, put up 20 sacks.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anyone on this team capable of that. But I think if everything comes together on that front seven, I think as a committee, I think they're going to be productive, and I think they're going to be disruptive, and I think that's the style that they want to play. I think we're away from the big space eaters in the middle who are really just there to clog things up and free up people behind them. And now we're in a phase of defense that's kind of new to us, where everyone is trying to get upfield.
Yeah.
If, like I said, if everything works out, I think by committee they'll be productive in that sack department.
Yeah, they might be high up there in like pressure rates and win rates, but not necessarily high up there in sacks.
Right.
Is the way I look at it. And with Landry, Paul used the word well-rounded, and that's the best word that I could come up with for him too, because he's a really good run defender. He's one of the better run defenders at his position. But the big question is, was last year a sign that things were going down for him as a pass rusher in his career, or was it the scheme change that he underwent with the coaching change in Tennessee? So can we get the Harold Landry pass rusher from 2 years ago with Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams versus the guy that played in Tennessee last year? If he can be the guy that he was in 23, 22, 21 with Vrabel and that staff down there, then that's a really productive all-around player and guy that can play 80-85% of the snaps and be a true starter on the defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see, was it a schematic change? Was it that he's maybe lost half a step as a pass rusher? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
but
further removed from the injury too, so you could get maybe a half a step back.
Yeah.
You often see that a full year. After the season after the injury is when you're closer to 100%.
And even if he's just cleaning up, Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and Keon White are they're the ones that are moving the quarterback off his spot and pressuring the quarterback initially. Harold Landry could be a double-digit sack guy just by cleaning up.
That's right.
Just getting the quarterback on the ground for those guys. So I would expect a lot of that too. Him, kind of mirroring the quarterback, staying level, keeping him in the pocket, and letting those guys be the ones that kind of push him to him, and not necessarily someone off the edge that has to beat the guy, beat the tackle.
What do you think Keon White's role is on this type of defense? Because he was never, even in college, he's not a sack guy.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see how they use him.
What do you think? How would you, you're the savant. How would you use Keon White, assuming we're correct in how we think they're going to scheme this defense? How does he fit into that scheme?
Well, he's been one of the most versatile players in the league from an alignment standpoint, moving inside and outside. He's up there with all of the, in those metrics in terms of versatility. So, ideally, he carves out a role as an early down edge setter, and then when it comes to third down or obvious pass situations, they can move him inside to over the guard and over the center and let him rush on the inside, which is really where he's at his best. But in order to be an every down player, I think he's going to have to develop as a defensive end and really play over the tackle or outside the tackle on early downs. I don't think you're going to put him in the A or B gap on first down and expect him to hold up against the run. I just don't see that being a great role for him. So he's a tweener. He's going to move inside, on passing situations, play outside in obvious, early down situations, but can they get that early down edge setting presence out of him? Can he be more consistent in that? Can he beat tackles in the pass rush? Can he set the edge? Can he keep the quarterback in the pocket? Like, those are the things that they're going to have to work on with him. But I love that question. I would love to ask Terrell Williams, now that he's here, what he sees and what his vision is for him, because that's the type of player that's a ball of clay that you can imagine Vrabel and Terrell Williams getting in the lab with Keon White and ironing out his game.
So early downs, you think edge setter. Later downs, passing downs. Is he the guy that makes the play or the facilitator?
Probably the facilitator. I think that that him and Milton Williams are probably more that than they are true sack guys. They're disruptors. They're gonna wreck the play, and then you hope that a Landry, a Barmore, maybe one of these younger edge rushers peaks. Brendan Swinson or something like that. Those guys can come in and be the guys that get the quarterback on the ground.
And we talked about the impact that the Bentley injury had last year. The impact that the Barmore illness had was that Keon White was almost like the guy.
Yeah.
And that's not his role.
No.
And it was unfair to him, to be not unfair, but it was unfortunate that he was thrust into that role. And I think we see the results. And, that the defense just wasn't where it should have been.
Yeah, I think everything Evan said is totally right, and it's those early downs where he's playing that it's going to set his ceiling. Like, I think he's already an established good interior rusher, and it's said 100 times. Him against guards, it's a mismatch that you want to exploit. A little bit more crowded now with Milton Williams in there and Christian Barmore, two other guys you're going to play inside, and want to get a lot of snaps for them. But can Keon White be a consistent force? Like Evan said, you talk about Harold Landry, the balance in his game, the ability to be a great edge setter, but also get 9 sacks. It's, an all-around. And if Keon White were able to elevate to that, and, you're looking at Landry and White on early downs, and then you can, mix in Chase on or potentially Swinson if it starts to click for him, then you've really got something. But there are 4 guys, and they're all interesting, and they all have questions about how they fit. I just think you're hopeful that you're not asking any questions about Harold Landry, that he's going to be, the anchor for that unit.
Yeah. There's Gonzo bringing up one of the puppies.
Yeah, I also got a chance to see Carlton Davis. We haven't seen much of him during the course of the spring, and Mike indicated yesterday that he would be out here, and he is. He was also one of the players that had a dog with him. He's got that dog in him, Mike.
One of my favorite. He definitely does have. Carlton Davis has that dog in him. Carlton Davis will scrap it. I love that moment in Forge and Foxborough when Davis and Gonzo were talking, and Davis was like, "Do you like left side or right side of the defense?" And Gonzo was like, "I don't care." I just see that with Christian Gonzalez right now. His confidence is sky high. He's got everybody talked about him being a little quieter and a little bit more reserved. That diva corner is starting to come out with Christian Gonzalez. And I love it.
It is. He's starting to get a little bit more sure of himself, a little bit more.
Got to have that as a corner.
Yeah, a little bit more talkative. I heard some quotes today about pressure at his position and just welcoming it. Yeah. He expects the pressure. He wants the pressure. He likes it. It's everything you want to hear in your number 1 corner.
Yeah, I don't know how you can have a team in the NFL and not have a cornerback like that. There's just too many good weapons, and you have to at least have some confidence that you can match up with the Justin Jeffersons of the world, which, of course, we'll get to see hopefully some of those matchups in joint practices where, one-on-ones. I don't know how much it's going to tell you about either player for the season, but just how cool is that to get to watch Christian Gonzalez go against arguably one of the top 3 receivers in the league, and Justin Jefferson.
We may not be able to see Terry McLaurin.
Well, maybe he'll be here.
The Patriots.
Right.
I'm sure maybe he'll be with him.
Yeah. But that tandem, Davis and Gonzo, obviously has the potential to be one of the best in the league. And just thinking about
look at his swagger right now.
Oh,
see a difference?
Swagging.
You see a difference?
I definitely
it's like
do.
Paul
Absolutely.
walking into PU.
I'm the man. He's walking out. I'm the man.
Yeah.
I agree, Mike.
Yeah, just the flexibility that those two guys can give you from a blitzing standpoint, from a run defense standpoint. Like when you have 2 guys on the outside that don't need a ton of help because they're really good man coverage corners, like you can really get creative of how you're going to bring pressure and things like that. And week 1 against the Raiders, they're going to want to feed Ashton Genty the rock. So now you can get another hat in the box, and you don't have to worry about that because nobody on the outside is going to worry you with those 2 corners. So that's really exciting. And talk about getting pressure and generating pressure on the quarterback. Well, if you only have to put 5 guys in coverage because those 2 guys are just taking out their assignments, then you can bring a lot of pressure.
You mentioned Forge. There was another moment in Forge where it's Davis talking to Drake May, and Davis had his guy blanketed, and May decided not to throw it, and Dave's like, "Come on, throw it! You're not going to give me that," because he knew he would have probably picked it off if he did.
Yeah.
But you want that. You want the banter. You want the competition, pushing each other. offense versus defense.
I mean, the flip side of that is the Patriots receiver is going to be able to uncover against those guys in practice here. The next couple of
when
weeks.
you started to talk about Gonzo against Justin Jefferson, I was thinking Diggs. We saw a little of it, and that was one of the very few times I thought last year that Gonzo kind of struggled.
Yeah.
At times with Diggs in that Houston game. So I like to see if assuming that Diggs is up to speed and ready to go. I know he's playing, but how close to 100% is he?
Yeah.
I'm going to have an eye on some of those matchups.
For sure. Where is Diggs at physically?
Right.
I think his biggest skill is just his route running ability. And, it's not necessarily dominant speed or anything like that. It's just he's so smart. That game last year against Houston, I thought was just a complete illustration of what we've seen from Stephon Diggs when the Patriots go against him, which is it's 3rd and 8. And he Josh Allen or, last year, C.J. Stroud throws a pinpoint pass, and, it's just right there. And Diggs just runs it so perfectly. How does that chemistry start to develop? So I love Paul's point, but does he have that same chemistry with Drake May? Is Drake May throwing with anticipation to Diggs? Does he understand how he wants the routes run? And, if they can get on the same page, I think that'll be really exciting.
If anyone's just catching up to Patriots news today with the first day of practice, you mentioned Diggs. He's out there. He's full go. He's totally cleared to play. And I tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. I did not expect that. I expected him to start in PUP.
Here comes Drake.
Even looking at him in the spring, one leg was noticeably smaller than the other. I didn't think he had full extension. What do I know? I'm no doctor, but I do know knee because I've been through that. So I'm just really pleasantly surprised that he's out here full go.
It's so important. I mean, just to get out there right from the get-go and to start establishing that chemistry. And it's of course I think we were all anticipating that he might be a PUP guy, and it just complicates it. How he's not going to really get the training camp reps that he's going to jump right into practice during the season, which we all know that's so focused on game planning, and so for him to get out here and really have a chance to build that chemistry, be part of the team, really be in the mix right from the get-go. I think it was just a huge bonus and something they might not have expected.
I'm with you guys. I thought he was going to open camp on PUP, but then in the spring I sort of felt like it was tracking ahead of that.
Yeah,
so
here he comes right now.
I'm not overly surprised.
He's got that dog with him too.
No, he's another one.
Another one
with the dog.
Oh,
he's putting him down.
Putting the dog in as well.
Oh, the dog's getting away from Diggs.
It's good.
Much like Diggs separates from cornerbacks, the dog separated from Diggs.
We need the Benny Hill music.
Oh boy. All right.
Diggs is in the trees right now, taking his dog.
Tragedy struck today.
That's funny.
It's okay. The dog is all right.
He's on on uneven ground over there. What are we doing?
The dog will be fine.
You see what happens when you invite dogs?
I know.
You see?
And he's back
you
on
guys.
He's fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's good.
Everybody's good.
That was funny.
I remember talking to, Brady would talk about being able to read body language of his receivers and just knowing as they were approaching the top of the route based off of where they were putting their weight and which foot they were planting on and things like that you could anticipate where the receiver was going to break ahead of time, especially with guys like Edelman, who we threw to all the time. And if the Drake May and Stephon Diggs can start to get to that level, I just think the comfort that it gives the quarterback to know that he has a receiver of that caliber that's going to get open when he needs him to get open is just takes a lot of weight off the shoulder of the QB, that he's not looking around, not knowing exactly where he's going to go with the football on a third down or a key situation. Hunter Henry, I think, is partially that guy for Drake too, but if Diggs can be that guy along with Henry, then that's just so huge for the mindset of the quarterback.
And what about the trickle-down effect of the other receivers too? Guys that are now getting favorable coverage, or a guy like Pop Douglas who, look, he's tough to cover, man. So he's getting less coverage, and Diggs is pulling some of it. It's some of these other guys might blossom.
And from what we've heard from Vrabel, his expectations very much like Belichick, where the train's not stopping. If you miss practice, if you're out with an injury, that's too bad. But we're not holding up the train for anybody.
Yeah.
So you're going to be behind if you miss practices. this summer.
It's a thing to keep an eye on with the rookies. I do it every year. Guys that suddenly can't practice, and you just get behind that 8 ball. And I'm sure you guys can speak to it even better than I can. Of rookies who just got hurt in their first training camp, and then they just never found a stride in their career. It happens. So hopefully that rookie class, especially some of the new guys, can stay healthy throughout camp and be able to just build that foundation. Because it's tough, man. You miss practice. It's really tough.
Missing a week of camp practice was like missing a month.
Yeah.
They do a lot. There's a lot that's covered, and if you miss it, it's hard to, especially as a young player, like you said. Jared Wilson, another guy that we didn't see a lot of in the spring. He's out there. He's got his uniform as, not on any of the lists, so another good sign. Hopefully we'll get to see a full camp from the rookie.
He was the one who I was going to bring up was Jared Wilson, because especially as a center, that's a very, between the ears type of position. So if he's going to push Garrett Bradbury at some point for playing time as a rookie at center, then this time of year is extremely important for that position. Quarterbacks, centers, like that's huge. So I would love to see Jared Wilson out there because, Fred, you asked what's the one mystery right now. The interior offensive line is the big question. We'll see what Will Campbell and Morgan Moses do at tackle, but they're going to be the tackles. Like there's no questions about the left tackle and the right tackle or the right guard for that matter, but left guard and center are two spots that they need to figure out 100%. Is it going to be Bradbury? Who is it going to be out of all the options they have at left guard? In order to get this going, they got to protect the quarterback. It's got to start there.
So you mentioned Onwenu. Sorry, Fred, but I just think Onwenu and Kyle Duggar, two super interesting players, guys that signed big extensions last year. Duggar banged up clearly last year, struggled, but was a little bit of a guy that took a lot of flack for it, playing through injury, so you got to give him some credit, but still, as we all know, it matters what you do on the field. And for all the offensive line questions that we've talked about all offseason and into last year, Michael Onwenu is one of the highest paid player on your team. You need him to step up and be a guy that you can really count on at that right guard position. We talk about the questions at offensive line. It's like you'd love to be able to say, well, we know we got the right guard locked in, and so hopefully he can bounce back, have a really good season. I don't know schematically what Josh is going to do. Maybe it fits him a little better what he did earlier in his career under Josh, but that's stuff we'll have to watch. And watch
as we go over the various topics of conversation, a guy that he's always been kind of a mystery since he's been here, Marty Mapu.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
What do you think his 2025 could look like if things work out?
If things work out? That's a great question, Fred.
Third down coverage linebacker.
Yeah, that's a good way.
He could be a guy that, we talked about Tavai a little bit, had some of that versatility. He could take a role like that if something happens to Spillane. I agree with Evan. I like his skill set maybe in a third down situation. I think he could be pretty active.
Keon White means business.
Mappa is interesting to me because I feel like early on in his career, he tried to be a jack of all trades. Like he tried to learn safety, he tried to learn linebacker. At one point he was trying to call the defense and wear the green dot, and he was a young player in the league and an inexperienced player. So I would love to see them just focus on, this is one package that we want you to master. This is one role we want you to master. And then maybe we can expand upon it once he masters that one thing. But he, in my opinion, just had his hand in too many pots. Like he was trying to take on too much as a young player. So maybe it's pass, game linebacker, third down linebacker. He's kind of a safety body type, so he can play linebacker spots and play those underneath zones and cover running backs and do that sort of thing. That's maybe a little bit too high stress for a true linebacker like a Spillane or like a Tavai, and maybe that's a role for him. Obviously, he's going to have to play in the kicking game too if that's his path to the roster. But him switching to linebacker tells me that they have something in mind. But I just hope it's a little bit more honed in and not as broad as what his first couple of years were.
I hope it's not just this is the last try to figure out if he can play at this level. And I mean, there's a part of me just wondering, does he fit next to Spillane consistently? Like, is that crazy to say, a guy who has some size but also can run a little bit better maybe than somebody like Tavai could? So I agree with how Evan laid it out, but interesting guy, really smart. I mean, last year he jumped in and played like a whole game after missing like a month and a half. He's one though for sure. Injuries have killed him in training camp the last 2 years, and that's put him behind the 8 ball as much as anything. So stay healthy, and maybe you have a chance.
Speaking of catching up, Terrell Williams missed pretty much all the spring in terms of being here. I know that he was staying in contact, via Zoom or whatever. but he wasn't here.
Yeah.
So do we have a sense of where he's at in terms of coordinating this defense?
Well, it clearly has Mike Vrabel's trust, and I think, like you said, he was on Zooms, and they said he's still around the team. He's just not physically around the team. So, I'm hopeful that this provides the team just a little fresh boost as we go into camp. I think all the installation stuff and the teaching stuff that happens in OTAs and mini camp, it's not the end of the world that your defensive coordinator wasn't here. Thanks to Zach Kerr, who's another guy who's been with Vrabel before and understands the defense, was able to fill in on the on-field stuff. So I'm excited just to see what's his presence like. Everybody talks about how he makes an impact across the roster, and guys really seem to respond to him. So what's his energy like? How does he fit in out there? Something to watch today for sure.
Yeah, he's got a lot of, for people around here, like Romeo Crennel type comparisons, where his motivation and his ability to connect with players is a big part of what makes him a great coach. But I'm interested to see him calling plays, because he hasn't really done that before, and he's going to call plays. He's going to call the defense this year for the Patriots, and I mean he has a ton on his resume, so it's not like he doesn't have the experience to do it, but he hasn't been the primary play caller, I don't believe, yet in his coaching career. So how does that work? How does he call plays? What's his sort of rhythm to that? Is going to be something we won't see till the games, and probably not till the regular season, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out, because Vrabel wants to be a CEO. I don't think he wants to have to call plays or do any of that. So even though he's had experience doing it, I think he really wants to pass the buck on that. So we'll see how Terrell Williams
It's good
does.
to go into camp knowing everybody's role.
Yeah.
I remember 2 years ago, or maybe it was 3, I forget, but we were, all mini camp and training camp was all about who's got the headset today,
2022.
who's talking, whose mouth is moving, who's actually calling the plays. Like we had no idea.
Yeah. No, that was. And then you're watching.
Some of us thought that might be an issue heading into that.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Well, for me, that was my, I guess, third training camp that I watched beginning to end. So every training camp you learn something new. But after these last few camps, it's now just jarring to me, that camp with Matt Patricia trying to be the offensive coordinator, to coach the offensive line. There was just so much going on. But whatever. 2022. We're 2025 now. We got a whole new team, and I don't want to think about that.
We opened our broadcast with the things that we're excited about, and we're all talking about the renewed energy.
Yeah.
And that's where it stems from, is the coaching staff. It was Mike Vrabel, and then his ability to bring in some experienced coaches that have done. Last year, how many different guys did we talk about and say it's the first time Mike Dussault has ever been calling plays, right? Everett Lazar has ever been in charge of a position group,
right?
There's none of that this year. You have a bunch of guys that have been there and done that. There's no first-time play callers on offense. Yes, we have the Terrell Williams situation on defense, but he's been around the defense a lot. I think the Romeo Crennel comparison that Evan had, I thought was really good. His reputation as a teacher, I think, is really strong, and a guy that has really impacted a lot of players. So, yes, he's never called plays, but he has been in that role before as a defensive.
And Keon White just pretty much said it. They didn't have a lot of good coaching last year. I mean, he didn't say those exact words, but that's what he meant.
Yeah.
It's just interesting less so about being concerned if he can do it, and more about starting to learn a little bit about his tendencies and his flavor of defense. Is he a pressure guy? Is he a coverage guy? Are they going to play a lot of 4-down fronts like everybody anticipates? What are they going to look like? On third down really is the big one in terms of scheme and all that stuff. But it'll be fascinating to see where they take that in that direction. But to move it over to the offense too, every day I get a little bit more excited about seeing what Josh McDaniels has in store for Drake May. I just think that that's it's a great pairing. It's a really good hire. It's somebody that with Forge and Foxborough, they talked so much about that. Josh is a master of this playbook. He knows it inside and out, and there's not going to be any uncertainty of how he's teaching Drake and how he's coaching Drake. So I'm excited to see what they do schematically with a quarterback that really everything is on the table. You can do anything you want with Drake May. There's nothing that's off limits from a physical standpoint. So it'll be cool to have McDaniels in that type of world.
Yep. Crowd's kind of filling in. I was a little worried at the beginning because there weren't a lot of people lined up. But now that practice is, getting ready to start full swing, I see the hills filled up. The bleachers are pretty much filled up. People could squish in and make more space, but it's a pretty good crowd.
pretty good crowd.
Back in the day,
look at me.
It was
I played
Tom
the role
Brady.
of the optimist.
When Tom Brady was here, it was a whole different thing because people came to see him.
Yeah.
You came to see greatness, particularly in the later half. People would come and be at the gate at 4 a.m. to have a chance to be in the front row. People were though, but that was all Tom Brady.
Yeah. Well, Randy Moss too. I'm sure plenty of Hall of Famers came through.
Yeah.
But you're totally right, and I mean, I still think no matter what team they're rolling out there, this is just a great take for a family, middle of the summer, looking for something to do, entertainment for the kids. You're right there. I mean, it's free. Just as a parent who spends there's puppies now. I mean, you spend a lot of time figuring out what am I to do with the kids today. Come down to Foxborough. It's a great time, and now with joint practices and Drake May and Stephon Diggs and Mel Williams and Christian Barmore, and you're starting to build some of those names that are a little bit more of a draw.
Couldn't agree more. But, Deuce came from money, so he sat around thinking, what am I going to do with the kids today?
Yeah.
I was at work. My wife was at work. I didn't sit around wondering what we were going to do with kids. But Mike Dussault comes from a different place. So
I'm surprised.
That's why I'm glad he's allowing us to be on his podcast.
You just don't send him to some summer camp.
No, that's what we did.
Well, that's what one of them is this week.
Well, the 3 nannies usually do something with
3 nannies.
And then I just get him my daily massage, of course.
Can't hide money on that side of the table.
Take them to the training camp. That will be fun. And clap my hands and do it.
Got some dogs coming up here now, Paulie, just for you.
What do we got?
Oh, we doing
I think they might have just adopted this.
We're getting an
this
appearance.
Little friend.
Oh man. The dad's like, I don't know about this. You guys sure? Dad, please.
What's the worst that could happen?
Always the dad, right? It's always us.
I think that horn is going to be the start of practice.
Here they come. We got dogs on parade coming right through.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
great.
look at this guy. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy.
He looks like he wants to bite my calf right now.
Oh my God.
Look at all these good dogs. Look at all these good dogs.
I got to get my dog a Patriots jersey. That's pretty cool.
Alice.
You do not have a Patriots jersey for your dog yet?
Not yet, but I will. Don't worry. I'm a little mad at him after the last couple of days.
I really can't believe that you don't have him decked out in Pat's garb.
Well, I'm hoping to get him in the Patriots on Patriots.com. So hopefully maybe pull some strings. Maybe we get him on the website. That'd be pretty cool.
No, he wants to dress him up like a shark.
Chase me.
Yeah.
Our shark.
I'm playing Jaws.
So we'll get the cameras turned down to the field as soon as we can. There's certain portions of the practice that we're not allowed to show live. So if you're wondering, why are we listening and watching these guys, and why aren't we watching the field? Because, like I said, there's certain portions that we're allowed to film, other portions that we're not.
And this is one that we're not allowed to film.
Yep.
Well, as Paul likes to say, and it's so true. These first few days really an extension of OTAs. It's not. It doesn't feel like training camp quite yet. Monday, it'll start to feel like training camp.
Wait till the stats come out later this afternoon. They'll tell a different story.
We still have 15 takeaways from day one.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have them.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to tell you that.
Today is a lot of procedural stuff. Who's out there? Who's full go?
You know
who's
me,
limited? It's
me.
not a whole lot of
Leave with the dogs.
Football takeaways.
No, I'd like to catch a glimpse of Terrell Williams. I haven't laid eyes on him yet, but it's another one. I mean, interesting to watch as a coordinator. Where does he spend his time? I mean, he's obviously comfortable with the defensive line. That was the position group that he coached and that he's really known for. But you see him hovering with the cornerbacks at all, defense, linebackers, that kind of stuff. See what kind of his style is.
People emailing in to podcasts@patriots.com, mostly about dogs.
Nice.
Mo in Rhode Island taking issue with Evan about labs. Hey, Mo. Says labs are not low energy. Their owners are just lazy. Labs need to be walked every day or they get overweight.
I think that's why Evan was suggesting I get a lab.
Yeah.
Because owners are lazy.
Listen, I'll allow it.
Ryan in Maine says Paul's future dog should be a beagle. They're rarely quiet, don't care if no one else is listening to them whine and howl at about nothing. So there you go.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Spotted a visor down there on the sidelines there.
Was
Andy Hart.
Was it a big one?
Yes.
I thought
with a very little Velcro to spare?
A large, yes.
And a rubber
hanging
wedding
by a
ring,
thread.
and a rubber. Yeah, that's a hard thing to say. Rubber wedding ring. You have to say that slowly.
Rubber wedding ring.
It's kind of like Max Scherzer.
Yeah, there's an Andy. Like, is he on the show? Yeah. Well, I think a big takeaway, too, from the spring was just the tempo of the practice. You know, guys sprinting a lot. There weren't a lot of conditioning. It seems like Vrabel's one of the guys run during practice.
It's funny that you brought that up, Mike.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I actually asked Mike about that.
You did.
And that's exactly how he, the way we talked about it, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
If you're working at practice, you should be getting your running in at practice. There's no need for extra conditioning. That's why we do everything at the tempo that we do. So I think when we see them do, maybe devoting a little extra time to conditioning, which they will, it's not going to be, but I think that will be part of the plan. And I think that another part of the plan, it's not like, I think people will go, oh, geez, Vrabel's being easy on him. They didn't run the hill today. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I think that means that he had more running built into the practice.
Yeah, he like Paul said, he mentioned that. That's the way he runs his practice.
Yeah.
He runs it like a game. Plays over, get back to the huddle, we're going to do the next play. There's not going to be a lot of downtime between plays in periods.
I just hope that hill doesn't get lonely over there because it's,
Oh, I'm sure they'll be out there. Yeah, I think I saw a practice plan for today, and I think I saw conditioning
some hills. All right,
at the end. Yeah, but as you get further into the summer, I think you're going to see less of that.
Yeah,
guys should be in shape.
Yeah, well, I mean, to Paul's point that he brought up yesterday, guys start to get banged up a little bit. You don't need to go too crazy and push it. Oh, we got a split box too. Look at that.
Yeah.
The Fonz.
Fonz on the right.
Doing some walkthroughs right now.
Yeah, set the.
How are you looking over there for attendance, Mike?
I haven't touched a single one. I'm going to rely on you guys because I got.
What was the last thing I said that I needed help with?
I got an audio service thing right here that's really blocking my view. Figure you got the perch, Paul.
Nothing but excuses.
The guys who are here.
Right. I think everybody's here, except for the NFI PUP guys.
There's a handful of guys I don't have. That doesn't mean they're not here.
Okay. Well, we'll get that to you.
We'll effort that later.
Drake May's here. That's all I care about.
We got Drake. We got Mill Williams. We got Steph Diggs.
You make fun of me all the time when I say things like that, but you say the same thing.
Well, now it's a whole new thing now, Paul.
Because I'm about, like your team is,
new regime. We're
stars.
gonna lean on Mike Vrabel to button things up. We don't have to do the buttoning up anymore.
I like it.
You know that?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, Freddie.
So Mike Vrabel will worry about the blocking and the line of scrimmage, and you guys will worry about the
as Mike Felger says, you do that on your own time, and we'll worry about Drake May.
About what wins football games. And you guys can do that on your own time. There you go.
Right.
All right, so that Vrabel quote yesterday where they talked about their film review and they put it into buckets, which was the good, the bad, and the
bleep that will get you beat.
Now, what's the difference between the bad and the stuff that'll get you beat?
So bad's just like a bad play. Like, maybe you drop a pass or whatever, but, the bleep that'll get you beat is, I don't know, 15 false start penalties.
Yeah, missed assignments.
In a practice. A missed assignment that gets your quarterback lit up.
Yeah.
Letting the ball go over your head as a safety.
I was going to say maybe the DK Metcalf play in Seattle. That's the bleep that'll get you beat.
Yeah.
And you can fix it. It doesn't take talent to know your assignments, to stay on side, those kinds of things.
It's kind of more the dumb.
So do you remember the 3 pillars?
The 3 pillars
for camp.
Oh yeah,
camp goals.
Build a team.
Yeah, that's number 1.
Find a role.
Yeah.
Prepare to win.
Oh, Mike, you nailed it.
So A+.
I wrote it down just in case Vrabel ever quizzes me on it. I'm ready to go.
I did like his 3 buckets for the film though. I that's a good way to live in the film room.
You should maybe put that in your film reviews.
Yeah, maybe after further review will be.
So what were those buckets?
I think the stuff that'll get you beat.
The bad, and what gets you beat.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Maybe that's going to be the new
stuff that get you beat. Might be a little sparse, but that's fine.
We won't talk too much about that. Yeah.
But I think going back to the 3 pillars for camp goals, I think he really kind of the goal there was just to narrow it down to just the basic.
Yeah.
We're here to build a team. You need to, find your role. Who are you? How do I fit into this team? And then
prepare to win. I mean,
prepare to win.
To avoid the stupid mistakes that get you beat. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's No, I thought a lot of what Vrabel has said. I mean, he always goes back to teaching for him, and I think a thing that made Bill Belichick great. Players often said that he could just really simplify things and say, these are the few things we need to focus on, and you can't do everything as a head coach. So you really have to break it down. What's important to me? What's going to really establish our identity?
Frankly, he got that from Belichick.
Yeah.
Belichick, I thought that was one of his secret weapons, was how he was able to take things and just simplify it and make it absolutely teachable. I've heard it from too many players to not know that that's the fact.
And also have the knowledge to look at an opponent and say, this is the key thing.
Well, whatever it is in life, he was able to just
unravel.
He was able to just break it down.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. That's why I think he could be the CEO of any company.
Yeah, it's probably Ernie too. I mean, Ernie probably has that ability to watch a team and say, this is the loose brick, and if we pull this one out, the whole thing's going to collapse.
Yeah, I just continue to
that
be
knowing the other team's plays.
I continue to be impressed by. They were talking to Vrabel in his press conference this morning about Doc Jim Whalen and the medical stuff, and he has an answer to that. He has knowledge about how they're going to rehab players and injuries and where the players are going to go if they need an MRI and all these little things that he has an actual idea of how they're going to implement those things, whereas I think a lot of other coaches would have just said, I don't know, you're going to have to ask Jim Whalen.
That's one thing that's really stood out to me about Mike from the introductory press conference, and he's mentioned things like that many times. It's his stressing of the importance of everybody on his team knowing everybody in the building.
Yeah.
Get to know these people. The people that are in the cafeteria, the people that are taking care of you, the parking people, the medical staff. That's what I don't remember a lot of coaches talking, and it wasn't lip service in my opinion, because he said it so many different ways and so many different times. We heard some of the stuff in Forged about the first meeting.
Yep.
He talked to them about the importance of treating these people properly, with respect and getting to know them. And I think that's an example of it that Evan just talked about with the doctors.
Medical
that
side.
was so different than
nutrition.
When Bill was stay away from our team.
Sports science, all of it. He has analytics, scouting, coaching, practice schedules. He has his hand in all of it and has things to offer in terms of knowledge to all of it. It's impressive.
So as you can see, cameras are back on the field, and that's
Dynamic
Drake May front and center. They're going through their stretching right now.
Hey, Fred, you know what I have to point out, too? I haven't seen the new football facility from this angle in a little while, and it's coming together
It's definitely
pretty nicely.
Yeah.
You can see it now, you take a random Friday off and you come back after a long weekend and you're like, whoa, there's a lot that
really
changed in 3 days.
It's amazing how fast they can get things done when you don't, when guys, when the crew's there. I can't get somebody to mow my lawn, and they're putting up this building.
Some might say, get off your ass and mow your lawn yourself.
If I had the time, I actually enjoy it. We've been through this. We're not going to get into lawn mowing.
I know you like
I like mowing, but this facility is slated to be open in April of 2026.
Yeah,
they might beat it.
It's coming.
1 year to build this thing? That's unbelievable.
I mean, underground parking, I know, was a huge thing. State-of-the-art treatment facility. It walks right out onto the practice fields. Barbershop.
Paul's so right, though, because we come even in the off season. We work here, so we're here, and every week you come back and a little bit more is done, and a little bit more is done. So it is crazy to watch it in real time going up, and the outside structure is done, right? They're really just working on the inside at this point.
Yeah.
It's funny how it all came together, because I know this has been in the works for a long time, and now Mike Vrabel comes here, and now his team just gets to benefit from hey, it's already in the pipeline, Mike, here it comes. So it'd be great for the team next year when they're able to move.
And I know that Vrabel and his staff have been involved in planning it out, the inside of it. What's important in the meeting rooms, what AV do they need, what do they want, what's the latest technology, how big the lockers should be, for example. I guess they're calling them custom lockers. They're customized.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to see it. I'm not even going to be working in there.
I know.
Yeah.
There's your boy, Deuce Jabril. A lot of Jabril in Forged. This past episode 2.
I think is he talking today? I think he's talking today, maybe.
I think he is. Yeah.
Just he said this offseason, he's like, I've never had a winning season, and it never really occurred to me And it's like, man, that guy.
You can pick him, Mike.
Yeah.
But, the guy is first-round pick, really highly touted, and Cleveland and Giants, and he's kind of kicked around a little bit. He's had off-the-field issues last year that derailed him. But he's a guy that just plays the way that Vrabel wants these guys to play, and that's why there's some question how do the old guys fit into this new roster as we were first getting going, and I just could never rule out Jabril Peppers. You see him breaking down the huddle. He's definitely emerged as a leader on this team. And Vrabel's got a hat on. And so, I'm hopeful that just how much would it mean for Jabril Peppers to get back on track, to play a full season, and maybe make the playoffs. I mean, it's all there for him to have the most satisfying season of his career if this team's able to put it together.
Yeah, after last season, which was frankly not very good for either Kyle Duggar or Jabril Peppers, we kind of forget that 2 years ago it was one of the better safety tandems in the NFL, and on all those lists that come out this time of year, they're ranking them both, pretty high as a tandem individually. And there was once upon a time where they were looked at as really good players and a good tandem.
I agree with that. Are you a little surprised the amount of criticism Duggar has taken in this offseason? I know I'm not trying to tell you he had a great year.
I think a lot of people. Yeah, I think a lot of people were already a little bit out on the coverage ability to begin with, and then when he had the year that he had last year where that was really
I think people have ignored the fact that he played hurt, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm not. I have been one that's been critical of his coverage ability in the past. So I'm not trying to tell you, now I'm going to change because I'm being contrarian. That's not what I'm trying to do. I thought it was clear that he played at well below 100% last year.
Yeah.
He was not moving at all. And I think it's now chalked up that he can't play, and he's going to get cut.
Well, I think he got lumped into the guys they brought back.
That too, but I would say, Paul, I think you're totally right, but I think part of the reason is because there were a lot of very glaring plays last year for him.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned already the DK Metcalf one.
The Miami game at Miami was a train wreck.
So, and so a common fan is watching that and being like, even I can see, and who knows for sure if you're even right based on what the coverage is, but I think it was obvious for even the casuals that he was having a tough year, and that's why, and you're right, people are overlooking the fact that he was really playing through a serious injury that needed surgery in the offseason. So, again, him and Onwenu, just guys that a little bit part of the old regime. Can they break
but I
through
haven't
this new
heard that
regime?
criticism of Onwenu.
Yeah.
I haven't, and he had a bad year.
He did.
But just because he was the best lineman on a terrible offensive line doesn't mean he played well.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really heard any of that with Onwenu other than here on our show. We talk about it.
Yeah. I heard Tommy Curran talk a little bit about it. I mean, I think, I think anytime you just look at the salaries of the guys and you highlight, all right, these are the top
That's what stands out to me.
Yeah.
The guys that are making good money that didn't get that money from this regime, to me, are guys that are on notice.
Yeah, especially, if Onwenu is going to play guard. Like if he's, and I think he should, but now he's an $18 million guard. That needs to be a Pro Bowl caliber player at that number for that position. But with Duggar, I just wonder, is there more consistency to his game? Like, does he have that in him, or is he always going to just kind of be a splash player that's going to have some boom, it's going to have some bust? A couple years ago when he's has pick sixes and things like that, then you live with some of the plays where he's not in the right position all the time.
That's why I thought it was so clear that he was playing below 100%. Because he had that explosiveness. The picked off Derek Carr screen pass against the Raiders.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Like that's just like
scoop and score.
I don't think I think he could have diagnosed that play every bit as quickly last year and wouldn't have been able to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Physically wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you he's a great player. I think if you go back to all those splash plays that he made it was I think 21 and 22.
Yep. A little bit of 23.
In 23. Like I think there's an element that he was a little overrated, but I don't think he is as bad a player as he was last year.
Yeah.
And I think the criticism is sort of ignoring all those plays that he made the previous couple of seasons.
Yeah, you wonder if Craig Woodson's got anything in the tank. I mean, we talk about the Deron Harmon, role, Devin McCourty role, and I think that, might have been when Duggar was at his best, when Devin McCourty was here, and you could just kind of play with Duggar. He doesn't, have to worry about getting beat over the top. But, is there a scenario where by the end of the year, it's just Duggar or Peppers with a Craig Woodson, and it's a little bit more conventional where you have a free safety and a strong safety, and I know teams now want to have guys go down and up and have that versatility and not be so rigid with your safety roles, but at the same time, if there's a guy with some really good range, it might balance out your defense a little bit. So, I mean, we'll see how it all comes
Woodson's
together.
reputation for being a cerebral safety is, I mean, that's
It just
legit.
gets
Another
everybody
guy
in the
with
right
a lot
spot.
of college experience, too.
Gets everybody in the right spot, in their natural spots, and I think that's big for Duggar. He's the type of player that you got to get him in the right roles. Like, if you're going to have him play a lot in space, if you're going to have him play far off the line of scrimmage in the deep part of the field, like, that's really not a strength of his. So if you can get him into the right spots, then Akem, he can be a really good player for them. Woodson's a good shot. Like, if Woodson can be that guy, when they play dime on third down, they're going to have 6 defensive backs. Like, is it those 3 guys? Is it the safeties? Like, I'm hoping it's those 3 together.
That's what's interesting to me is just what do the sub packages look like. I mean, I think we have a pretty good sense of just what they're probably like 4-2-5 base nickel will be.
Yeah.
But when they get into the different dime packages, they're going to be here we go sprint. Vrabel leading the way.
Yeah, you saw Mike.
No, you got the team together. Yeah.
Just setting the tone.
What do you think
practice.
that message is, Freddie? Yeah, I mean, being a veteran of 30-plus camps, what do you think the message was from Mike Vrabel?
Take care of each other.
Yeah, take care of each other. Stay up. That type of thing. Let's be alert.
Head on a swivel. I might have a pad any minute and just carry you.
Right.
It starts today.
Oh, and there it is, Paul. On cue, they literally hand him the pad as you say that. The hat's coming off.
He's such a hard
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
I think Andy Hart goes to bed every night and just says, I want to be Mike Vrabel.
I do.
That's football, man, right? Like, let's get in the trenches. Let's get on when and when Moses on a double team, and let's move some bodies.
Yeah.
That's Mike Vrabel's mindset, and I love it.
Yeah.
I liked listening to him talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah, before you came to the show, Mike and I were talking about that. It was late in the press conference when he talked about one of the things he gets most excited about is when a guy sort of surprises him with his physicality once the pads come on.
Yeah.
His ability to maybe break tackles or his contact balance or his ability to shed a block. And every year he says there's guys that surprise him.
Tavai just gave him a nice,
nice
welcome
chuck.
to camp. Welcome to camp, Vrabel. But looking at Tavai there too, no wrap on his leg or anything, jumping right into these drills here that they're doing. So good sign for him. Doesn't seem like he's too hampered by that injury from the spring.
Yeah. So Vrabel is strapped up.
Special teams work
special
right here.
teams, yep.
So I'd like to talk to you guys about my buddy Mike Reese, right? Because I always take a little extra stock into some of the things. I consider him to be one of the more informed beat guys. You never will hear me put him in the box where I do with everybody else when I make fun of the media. Mike had an interesting roster projection, and there was one guy in specifically that stood out to me. And that was Jack's notes.
It really stood out to him.
Javari Ritzy. He had making his final roster. At defensive tackle. I don't know much about that undrafted rookie out of North Carolina. 6'4", 294, just looking at the roster. Do you guys know anything about this player, and should I have him on my radar?
I don't know
Mike
yet.
has him on his radar, then sure. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
If I had to pick the UDFAs, he would not be at the top of the list. But mostly just because of competition. Like, it's going to be a tough spot to make the roster as an interior defensive lineman when you have Barmore and Williams and White and Farms and Tonga and like guys that are going to be on this team. So that would be more.
Does he have an edge over Farms?
He's much more of an upfield player, and
Yeah.
you see the size. He's only 295 pounds, 300 pounds, and what I remember of him, just doing the UDFAs was that he's somebody that is that style. He fits the style that they want to play a little bit more potentially, but I think there's a long way to go before we're talking about Ritzy making the roster.
If you guys obviously didn't see it. If you saw a roster projection at this time of year and that guy was on it, wouldn't that?
Feels
it's not like Efton Chisholm right now would not necessarily create that kind of a reaction.
Yeah, but some random.
What about Demir Blankenshee?
There's another one.
There's another one.
That feels informed, Paul.
Yeah.
It absolutely feels informed, which is why I bring it up, and I want to know if I should put any extra attention to that player.
I think
we're going to have to learn how to pronounce his first name.
But there's going to be a bunch of UDFAs that make this team because you were talking about it earlier. Like, it's a new regime, and they're going to have their guys, and they're going to.
And there's a lot of them.
They're going to filter out some of the guys that are not necessarily fits for what they want to do. And we talked a lot about Efton Chisholm and Larison, but even at like tight end, can G. Scott or C.J. Dupree win a spot? Brock Lampy at fullback, does he win a spot? apparently Jabari Ritzie is someone we should all talk about. Cam Riley at linebacker.
So he had Chisholm and Larison on his roster.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would
Ritzie.
too.
It's a great. I like how Evan's laying it out, because I think what Mike Reese was probably getting at is questions about depth. And some of these positions, defensive tackle is a great one, and that's probably why he chose Ritzie. But, you know, who fits into this scheme? Do the holdovers hold their jobs? You know, you brought up Jeremiah Farms, who had a great year last year, has really progressed, but still, you know, he's like 28, 29. I mean, he's not a young spring chicken anymore. So those positions, the depth, that's where the jobs can be won. I think Evan laid out some great names that, you know, Brock Lampy, who's going to, you know, unique player on the roster, might push for a spot if Josh likes that and wants to put that fullback back in.
Only fullback on the roster.
There you go.
They got to put the fullback back in. I mean, what are we doing?
We were talking about interviews after practice earlier and speculating. We should mention that Drake May is going to speak today.
Yeah,
We will have that for you live.
Yeah.
After practice.
After practice.
Watching some footwork here with him under center, and this is something that just like a little thing that be watching, you know, the play fakes and the under center footwork and all that stuff. Like the footwork really improved leaps and bounds from college to his rookie year. I think the play fakes could get a little bit better, like really selling the play action from under center. It'd be interesting to see how that develops.
Got a little of the Drew in him.
That is a little.
Drew was too cool to give you a really good play fake. It would be. I got. How do I look smooth and cool doing this?
Right. Right. But when you're in shotgun, like, it's not really footwork, right? You're just kind of shuffling your feet. You know, it's not really. We're not really talking about dropping back from, you know, 5, 7, 9 step drops from under center. That's really when we start to talk about footwork and then where that impacts the quarterback.
But definitely they are working on that now from the shotgun, the quarterbacks, and now we see offensive line here.
So that's, I think that's Robert Kugler there, who I ran into at the automotive shop waiting for our cars to be ready. And, you know, Line's Fred of building a relationship with football. I chatted with him. He was featured pretty prominently in the recent episode of Forged in Foxborough as well. I said, "Oh, you got a first-round pick to get your hands on." He said, "Oh no, you know, I'm going to let the shoot. What's the offensive line coach?
Doug Marrone.
Doug Marrone.
Thank you.
Come on.
Blanked
Robert
on that one for a
Kugler, he
sec.
knows. Doug Marrone. Never heard of him.
Well, he met him at the auto body.
No, I know. He's like a 2-time head coach.
You know,
Doug Marrone.
he gets very
So
excited
a lot of
about those
names
things.
in my head.
Well, they have, I exaggerate, but they have like 5 offensive line coaches.
Yeah.
They have 3 true like guys
Yeah.
that are really the voices. But Jason Howdeling, who was with,
he made an impression on me.
He was with Vrabel in Tennessee. He's actually run the room before. He's been an offensive line coach, and then Doug Marrone obviously has done it for years. So they kind of have 2 guys that are qualified to be offensive line coaches.
And that's part of what I was talking about earlier with, like, last year you had all guys that were actually doing it for the first time. This year they have assistants who have done it in the past, like Thomas Brown, Todd Downing. There's been an offensive coordinator. He's coaching wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know, so I think now sometimes that can work the other way. You got too many cooks in the kitchen, but
This isn't how I would do it.
But that's
that
Mike
kind of
Vrabel.
stuff.
I mean, that's on Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure you don't get that kind of
As long as they're all on the same page, great.
And when it comes to some of the stuff with the technique, just from what I've seen, I would say Doug Marrone is going to do a lot more of like the coordinating with Josh McDaniels of the offensive line. You know, how are we going to block things? How are we going to pick up blitzes? How are they going to scheme the run game and all that kind of stuff? It looks like Howdeling and Kugler are really involved with like hands-on coaching.
Yeah.
And Marrone is kind of sits back and watches and evaluates and then gives his 2 cents.
What was Howdeling's nickname? I was on the stupid thing. I forget. It was like Haas or something.
Haas or something.
He is like quintessential offensive line coach. Who was the guy out in Vegas that we watched? Carm Brasillo. I mean, just these guys who are, you know, they're all kind of built the same. They're, you know, kind of square guys. They just have that booming voice.
And then there's Dante, who's, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's kind of, I don't know, Dante's kind of the exception to that.
Yeah.
Just saw Stephon Diggs there take a pass. This is a drill that once they get pads on,
boom goes the dynamite.
It's a lot more physical drill. Right now, it's just kind of 2-hand touch.
Yeah, so leveraging to try to push to your help, whether it's the sideline or, you know, back into the teeth of the defense. So the defensive player wants to take an angle at the ball carrier in order to funnel him in a certain direction that they want to push him in. Marcus Jones taking some reps with the ball.
I would not want to go against him.
Can we?
No.
Can we get the ball in his hands on returns, please?
Yeah. That would be my nightmare. Like,
maybe a little bit on offense.
Marcus Jones. Oy. There's KB.
Kendrick Bourne.
Kyle Williams was really good at this drill in the spring. I remember he made a couple guys look a little foolish.
Of course, the return of the Guardian caps. It's become a...
That Travion Henderson, 32.
Yeah. He fast. He's one guy that I felt like through the spring, everybody kind of universally was like, yeah, he looks like he can play.
Kyle Williams.
As much as you can say it at this point, but... Whoop. Whoa. A little shifty. A little shifty.
Those two guys, even if it's not a high volume, if they can just get some big plays out of those two guys and they can bring that infusion of explosiveness that they drafted them for, it would be so massive for the group.
I mean, Diggs, Williams, Pop. I mean, these guys are all under contract for a couple years, too. So anything you establish this year, you've got guys to build around. I mean, this is a great example right here, Javon Baker, who, you know, talk about a guy who has all the talent, but is he ready to take that step?
Yeah, you keep wanting to see him put it together because he does have all the talent.
Yeah.
You know, highly recruited guy at Alabama, big year at UCF a couple years ago. Like, it's not a talent issue with him.
It's Chisholm.
It's a consistency issue, right?
Pause the show. Chisholm's going.
86. That's guy to keep your eye on.
Yeah. No,
had a lot of talk.
He's quick.
We're talking about, and I don't want to, you know, I can't see everything, but we're talking a lot about Baker just now. His partner that everybody talks about with him is Polk. I haven't seen Jalen Polk.
No Polk.
So he's not on the list, but he did have, you know, he had the shoulder, and he's coming back. He was limited in the spring. So
I did not see him. Doesn't mean he's not out there. I'm not. You know, before we ended up getting aggregated. I'm not reporting that he's not out there. We're up here on the ramp, so I don't see everybody.
I've got an audio services thing in my way.
I don't see him either with the receivers.
You know, and ironically, the other guy I didn't cross off is 93. Ritzy.
No, yeah.
After I just talked about him. He's probably out there. I just haven't seen him. Everybody else I have accounted for that's not on the list.
Okay.
So Josh Minkins.
Thanks, Paul.
Vidarian Lowe and Austin Hooper are three guys that are still on lists.
I got 93.
You got 93. So, and Mac Hollins is actually here, but he's not practicing. So those four guys, those are the only guys I don't have, other than Jalen Polk.
Yeah, so the other scribes are in agreement with you.
Scribes, Jalen Polk?
Jalen Polk's the only guy not here.
Yeah.
That's not
ideal for him.
No, especially after yesterday. I said I'm Team Polk. So hopefully it's nothing major. But I mean, he was working through things during the off season. I think it was shoulder surgery.
Yeah, he had something done on his shoulder.
Yeah, he had shoulder injury at the end of last year.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know we talk about this is the first day of camp, and but it's like it matters. Like, I think every time you're not out here, it matters. So.
Well, particularly for guys like that. You know, if we talked a lot about Diggs and how positive it was that he's not on PUP. Well, if he was not on PUP, but maybe getting a little bit slower, it wouldn't be as big an issue to me if he missed a day or two.
Yeah.
As it is for a guy like Polk.
Right. Who's
trying to fight and prove that he's an NFL player.
Yep.
Well, these guys are working hard. They're not wearing Brunt workwear, but you should when you're working. They make work boots and apparel that are built for the job site. Their gear is comfortable, durable, and named after the real workers in the trades that help design it, and it's done right here in New England. You can even try Brunt out on the job, and if it doesn't blow you away, they let you just send it back. Save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or with coupon code PATS. So get your Brunt workwear. I've got my 3/4 zip on.
You too, Fred. That's, I mean, in jeans, Fred. You dress for
warm, it's not
weather.
It's not that hot yet. I'm saving the shorts.
Fred got here at 4 a.m. It was a little chilly.
I'm saving the shorts for Friday and Saturday because it's going to be really hot.
Bust out the stems. Yeah, it's definitely going to be hot those days.
Have we seen Matt Collins running through these drills at all?
No, he came out, but he didn't have a helmet.
Yeah.
He went down with the...
That's another interesting one. He hasn't done anything. Didn't see him in the spring. Isn't doing anything now. I think he's pretty close to being a lock on the roster, but if he's not healthy, he's not healthy, you know?
But I wonder about the PUP thing to buy some time.
Yeah.
A veteran that we know is going to be here. This allows us to get extra time with Polk, Baker, Chisholm, Booty, Bourne. See, I would say
I just like saying the
You're
name.
going to make fun of me. That's okay.
No, I just
but I
like
would
saying
say
the
John
name.
Giles showed
John
up
Giles.
as much to me
Yeah,
in those
sure. No,
spring
you're right.
as any of those other secondary receivers.
Yeah.
They targeted him. Now, not Drake May.
Yeah.
Those guys generally work with Josh Dobbs. And thank you, because you knew I was going to struggle with that.
And the other guy.
But he showed up. John Giles, he's a guy that was here a little bit, right?
He's got good size.
The end of last year.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, height, weight. I mean, he's got all the intangibles.
Perfect
I mean,
scout team
right,
receiver.
Scout team X guy that you're like,
Yeah.
all right, we got to go against the big dog this week. You're going to play that part.
They'll make fun of me later.
Yeah. But Matt Collins
they
is
were
an
nice on
interesting
the air,
one.
but they'll make fun of me later.
You never make fun of you, Paul.
I don't know. I feel like Matt Collins a lock?
I think he is.
I think he's a lock
is.
because of his special teams ability.
And just his leadership and all that stuff too. Like I feel like he's here to kind of
Plus, you don't really want to
police
blow
the
too
room.
much millions.
Yeah.
Like, you give a guy like a $500,000 signing bonus or something, you have to cut him. Yeah.
This will sound funny, but like,
How many million did he get?
I think he's the perfect number 5 receiver. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as a negative, but it's just like special teams. He's got a little bit unique size and.
Well, I'll tell you what I think too. And not everybody has it. Some, especially at that position, they're divas, right?
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
used to getting the ball. They used to be the center of attention. Not all guys can just sit around and all of a sudden in the middle of the third quarter is the key play that, hey, we need this 4 receiver set and we need you.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt Collins is showing the ability to get, 7 snaps in a game, but find a way to make 2 catches.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did it with Buffalo a lot last year.
He was a good player for
Huge
Buffalo
catch.
last year. Like I'm not talking, he's not Randy Moss, but like he was a good player in his role for Buffalo
When they
last
asked
year.
him to make plays, he delivered.
And he can play a little in the slot and use his size a little bit in the slot as well. Like he's a football player. He's a guy that can be a good player.
You said it perfectly, Paul. That's not easy to do.
Especially at that position.
To come off the bench like that in a key moment and make the play.
And he had a good year with McDaniels in Vegas a couple years ago
that was
too.
his career best, right?
Yeah, but Buffalo last year, I mean, he was not a bad player for Buffalo.
So you go back and you look, and
productive.
ESPN's been doing a lot of like wrap-ups of divisions, and they show the Patriots that you see the Drake May scrambling around touchdown against Tennessee.
Yep.
Buffalo, there's like 2 or 3 different catches that Hollins makes.
Yeah.
As part of their little package.
He impressed me when we were in Vegas for joint practices. I mean, I spent most of my time watching Devontae Adams, do his thing, but he seemed like just a great compliment. Just a big outside receiver that in those packages with multiple receivers, he's got a presence on the outside, and it's he's playing all your special teams. He's a really good off the field guy. I think that's what they're looking for.
I know Paul's going to scoff at what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
He might be the best run blocking wide receiver in football. Dead serious.
I'm not. I'm not going to scoff because of what because of what Mike said. He's a 4th or 5th receiver.
Right.
Yeah.
He's an elite
That's
number 5.
I need that. I need a guy. If you're going to be that, you're going to have to go and be a gunner.
Right.
You're going to have to block in the running game. That's what I want from those guys.
You need somebody that's going to go in there.
I can't have you bitching about not getting the ball.
Right. And so if he's not bitching about not getting the ball, what about the guy who's like the 3rd receiver? Like you can't be bitching if the 5th guy, who's a veteran
about
can.
digging out the nickel.
Oh,
we got it.
Oh.
Matt Collins. He'll go in there and get his. There to get the nose dirty.
Yeah, but it does sound like he's a little ways off, though. So, I mean, it does. Without Polk, without him, I mean, guys like Javon Baker, you got to take advantage every single day that those guys aren't out here and make the most of every time the ball comes your way. You can't have, beginning of camp, we saw a lot of great stuff from Baker, and then, we started to see some drops, and, it became inconsistent. You can't repeat that if you want to try to build towards making this roster and having a role.
Yep. So in a few minutes, we're going to be saying goodbye. Our cameras will have to be shut off permanently, so we'll let these guys go downstairs and actually pay real attention to practice.
Yeah.
But it'll be a shorter practice today. Tomorrow we'll have Patriots Unfiltered at our a little later.
Right after practice.
Right after practice.
Yeah, right on the heels.
So we'll wrap up everything we saw the last 2 days tomorrow, and you guys will do your podcast after every day of practice. So you want to go and subscribe to, what is it called, Training Camp?
Patriots Training Camp Cast,
Training Camp Cast.
Yep.
So
with Mike Dussault.
We'll have those after every practice. The Mike Dussault Show. Yeah, we'll have those after every practice. Obviously, Patriots.com and all the Patriots social accounts. We'll have content coming out the wazoo throughout training camp this summer. So it's another good way to follow. So lots going on. Our next live show from practice will be Monday. We picked that day because we're told that's going to be the first day in pads. And that's always an exciting day to finally see them a little bit more physical in shoulder pads. So that'll be on Monday, around the same time, I think, probably.
Yeah. I know we're wrapping up, but I just want to mention, we talked about the linebackers. We didn't even mention Christian Ellis, who's out there, and who they not only signed to an initial restricted free agent deal, but then when the Raiders offered him, they matched it and gave him a more significant deal. So it was almost the Raiders were trying to get him to replace Spillane, and they're like, we not only kept Spillane, we want to keep Ellis too. So he's another guy who's a little bit of a wild card. Is he on that trajectory of going from special teams player to a real linebacker who contributes? Zach Bond last year being like the ultimate story of a guy who signed a one-year deal with Philadelphia and then just exploded. I don't know if Ellis is on that track, but
so you're saying he's going to be in a first-team All-Pro?
Right, exactly. But maybe the Patriots do see that kind of trajectory for him in this defense, that, hey, this is a guy who can run a little bit, and he fits in well at that inside linebacker spot.
Definitely fits in nicely next to Spillane, just from a body type and like skill set.
Kind of guys.
Yeah, weak side linebacker.
So Vrabel's very active. I'm just wondering, can he sustain this all summer? I mean, how much ibuprofen is he going to have to take after today? Because he's getting knocked around.
Yeah, I know, especially with all those, what was it, 14 years in the NFL?
I want to know how much coffee he drinks.
Yeah.
Apparently Dan Campbell drinks like a ridiculous amount of coffee.
How did he sleep?
That's how he gets all, has all the energy that he has. So.
All you knew is one of those Celsius, just like 5 cups.
Yeah.
We're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
That's right. Dan. Yeah. Hunter Henry talking with his head coach.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about the tight ends.
I know. I mean, Austin Hooper seems like it's going to be a little bit for him, too. So, again, talking about opportunities for guys, maybe a Jaheim Bell is able to take advantage of that. Jack Westover, active in OTAs and stuff.
Still waiting for one of those guys, Westover, Bell, Dupree, Scott. Somebody show us a little something.
All right, well, we're going to have plenty to talk about this summer as the Patriots get ready for their 2025 campaign. But for this episode of Patriots Unfiltered Special Training Camp Edition, we're going to say goodbye. We want to thank everyone for tuning in for training camp. Again, we'll be back live on Monday for pads, but Patriots Unfiltered will be going on. The Camp Cast will be going on after every practice.
Catch
22. Can't forget that.
This afternoon.
With the bartender.
Yes.
All the writing. We'll have Patriots All Access at the end of this week. So there's so much Patriots content. Forge in Foxborough, Episode 2 dropped last Friday. You can watch that on YouTube. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.